there have been numerous reports, though, of several fires, and it's not over yet. I know that one person said they saw a fire. They looked through their shutters. They've got the clear shutters. And I said, you can't go out there, not in this kind of wind, and risk your life. And even the firefighters can't get out in this kind of wind to help you out. So, again, stay safe. Just kind of ride it out. It's not as intense, the period from one point to another, but it's lessening, but it's still there, the possibility of getting those wind gusts up to 100 miles an hour, which can uproot trees. You know, these trees have been kind of swaying back and forth in the wind, right? Well, you think about it. That's loosening the root structure, and all it would take is a big wind to knock it all the way over. That's why you shouldn't be out and about tomorrow morning when you get out there. I don't mean to preach, but I just want to let you know those are the dangers that we're facing. Stay in your safe room, stay hunkered down, and this will eventually subside. It's down to a Category 2 now, and will continue to weaken now that it's over land. Just a little update there on this storm that has been one heck of a storm. There's that rainfall right there. That's plus 10 inches in St. Petersburg. Rob and Summer, it has been a wild night. You know, the first part of the storm, which is normally the northeast quadrant, is where you have the biggest rain and the biggest wind. Not the case with this storm. Everything about it has been unusual, with the backside of the storm being the strongest part, causing the most damage here across the area. So Rob and Summer, a storm that's not over yet. It is weakening, but there's still a long way to go. And I got to tell you, recovery is a lot harder than actually going through the storm. Back to you guys.
So true.
And that's so concerning and heartbreaking. And like what he pointed out so well is we will not know the depth and the magnitude of this damage until we can get out there and assess it safely. Obviously, first responders are going to be the first ones out tomorrow, but know that the landscape will be different.
It definitely will. And, you know, once I heard the hurricane had made landfall, I thought, okay, phew, I can finally breathe. But that isn't the case, as Bob is saying. I mean, we continue to feel its effects, and we will continue to feel its effects for, unfortunately, several weeks and months moving forward. All right. We have our team members stationed at the local EOCs, and we want to go to Jordan Litwiller now. He is at the Manatee County EOC with an update. Jordan.
Hey guys, we're here with Chief of Emergency Management Matt Myers here in Manatee County. And Matt, it has made landfall. The storm has made landfall a little bit south of us now. So just talk to us a little bit about what that means for us here in Manatee County and the local viewers.
Yeah, so unfortunately to our friends to the south, this is actually the best case scenario for Manatee County. We are still having a severe wind threat. So we're going to receive damages from that, but the surge is going to be exponentially down. So unfortunately, our friends to the south are going to receive that surge, but that surge threat for us has actually become a negative surge.
Gotcha. And so talk to us a little bit now about what the next few hours look like here now that it has made landfall and it is moving further inland. What do the next few hours look like for us here on the coast in Manatee County? Yeah,
so we're already seeing the reports about 80,000+ power outages. So we're going to keep monitoring that. It has not even made its way through Manatee County completely. We also have some back end shear that we have to worry about, some possibility of excess rainfall. So we're going to continue to monitor that throughout the night. Expected to have somewhere between 6 to 9 a.m. the winds to sustain for us to go actually start doing damage assessments. But the first thing in our first process is our first in teams to be able to push in our main arteries, as well as our urban search and rescue team, to make sure that all people are safe.
And have you guys been getting any calls about needing rescues right now, or what does that look like in terms of the messaging from the community?
Yeah, so right now we haven't received an abundance of calls of anyone that is trapped or anything like that. We're going to continue to monitor because that wind threshold is still there, still severe wind threshold. So we still want everyone to remain cautious, remain in their homes, don't venture out. It's not safe yet. Additionally, even after the winds die down, there's going to be a lot of hazards. A lot of fatalities happen after the storm has passed. People going outside, venturing out, down power lines, flooded areas. So we want to make sure everyone remains vigilant until we say that it's safe enough to be able to go and do these things, evaluate your homes if you're at the shelter, all of that kind of stuff.
And just to reiterate, you said the timing when it sounds like first responders will be able to get out into the community around 6 to 9 tomorrow morning. Is that what you said?
Yes, but we're going to continue monitoring because that has been fluctuating, you know, as the storms do, as it breaks down. That wind field could shrink a little bit more, it could grow more. So we're going to continue monitoring. We have anything that comes into 911 prioritized for the urgency. And as soon as it is safe to do so, we will make sure we get people out to everyone.
Perfect. I think that's all I had. Is there anything else that you think the public needs to be aware of as we head into the evening?
Yes, absolutely. Don't, I know it's nighttime, but don't sleep on this. There's still a lot of damage that could be had. There's a lot of severe risk for, again, some possible gusty winds, more rain, more of that straight line wind. So we want to make sure everyone stays vigilant. And again, do not venture out until we say it's safe to do so.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time. Again, this is not the time to let up. Still, a lot of precautions need to be taken as the threat is not completely over. Still remain in those houses and stay safe inside of those shelters where you're at right now. For now, I'll toss it back to you guys in the studio.
And I think that is so important that we are curious as human beings, right? We want to look, we want to see, we want to kind of assess the damage for ourselves of what this is. But, you want to let those first responders get out there. And what we call it is just stabilizing that street, that neighborhood, that court, because maybe it looks safe to you, but there may be a wire down and you don't want to accidentally step on it, drive over it, especially if it's a live wire at this point. So important.
Yeah, it is still not safe out. That is the word from Manatee County emergency crews. We still are seeing a severe wind threat, and they're saying they're actually not going to be able to send people out until 6 or 9 in the morning tomorrow once those winds sustain. And they're seeing reports of 80,000 power outages at this point, and they say they will likely see more.
The numbers will certainly grow. While we do have you, let's pull up a traffic cam here. I believe this is Siesta Key Midnight Pass and Stickney Road. What an ominous sight that. Look how that roadway looks, at least as we go further down that road, it looks very much impassable.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say? Are you
You
seeing
can
what
see
I'm
the
seeing?
water, the lights are blinking, flashing there. Yeah, a lot of standing water there. And that is the area by Siesta Key. So that is where the hurricane made landfall.
Wow, look at the trees, those palms blowing. Look how, and that area, I see the street light appears out, but it does appear, I see a light, I don't know if it's an emergency light to the right on at least one of the units there. That's at least what it appears. I don't know. It's a very grainy photo. So we're looking at this together. We're navigating this together, but just an ominous sight. A lot of folks are in the dark over there tonight.
Yeah, and search and rescue teams will be heading out in the morning as well to try to find anyone that may have been injured. They are getting reports of some phone calls. Like as Bob was saying, there are some reports of fires in the area, flooding. It's just never ending. It's a very busy evening.
We showed some slides a little bit earlier. I don't know if we can access those again or not, but the ones that Kaylee, our producer, had pulled up, but they were telling a bit, at least an initial edge of the story, right? We saw what appeared to be a transformer below somewhere near downtown on the bayfront of Sarasota, right? We saw, it looked like some sort of a light fixture or an exterior light come literally off one of the hotels. So it's not only the magnitude of the storm, but the other effects, the fires, the pop-ups, the flying debris. Keep in mind, it was a round-the-clock effort since Helene just to get all that debris, to get all those furniture, all the personal contents cleaned up. That was up until the last minute. The governor making that a priority because we know for a fact that at least somewhere, some of that stuff became shrapnel tonight, literally flying through the air through this storm, left over from 2 weeks ago.
Yes, projectiles. So that is why they say it is dangerous to head out after the storm. Also, emergency crews saying they expect or they see a lot of fatalities happen after the storm because of the down power lines and the dangerous conditions. All right. And now we want to go to the Sarasota EOC and see the moments of how they reacted when the hurricane made landfall on Siesta Key. Let's take a listen.
Good evening. This is Sandra Tapumene. I'm the Chief of Emergency Management for Sarasota County. We are here. It is Wednesday evening at 8:40 p.m. and we have just been notified by the National Hurricane Center that Hurricane Milton has made landfall right near Siesta Key at a Category 3 storm of 120 safe and don't go outside yet. It's going to be a number of hours until it will be safe to go outside. Likely sometime mid to late morning. The winds will subside and become decreased probably early morning. But one thing we want you to keep in mind is that these roads are going to be full of debris. There could be down power lines. We could definitely have flooded roads with all the rain we're anticipating, as well as in addition to the storm surge. So we're asking you to stay put inside tomorrow, allow our crews to get through to clear roads. We're going to be working on major arteries so that we can have the main roads cleared and allow first responders to get through. We'll have the first responders out doing search and rescue in the morning. All the calls that came through to 911 overnight, they're going to be checking on people who need medical attention or other assistance. So the longer you can kind of stay in your house tomorrow, the easier it's going to be for everyone else that's out there trying to work. So a number of other things, and we'll keep updating you as we get more information. But while we have your attention, we just want to talk a little bit about safety following this storm. So we mentioned the down power lines. So if you come across a down power line, please just assume that it's a live wire. We don't want you touching it. You can call your utility company to report that there is a wire down. The utility companies will be out in force trying to get the power back up and running as quickly as possible. Also, flooded roads. We mentioned not to drive through flooded roads. The water can be very powerful. We don't want you to get caught up and to be swept off the road. That has happened in the past in our county, and it's very dangerous. So do not drive through flooded roads. We definitely want you to be safe within your home. If the power went out while you were in your house, you can turn all of the, unplug all of the appliances and make sure everything is unplugged. Because now what will happen is the power comes up, there could be a power surge that could damage your appliances. Also, hopefully if you have an electric vehicle or anything with an ion lithium battery, you've evacuated that out of the area, but in the event that you have a golf cart or a scooter or an electric vehicle that does get inundated with storm surge, that battery can catch on fire when it gets in contact with that salt water. So move it away from your home, move it out of any other property that could catch on fire. And hopefully, we're not in that situation, but maybe you can protect your property if you take those protective measures. So we'll be providing updates as we get more information. This will be our last broadcast here live at the Operations Center tonight. Again, it's Wednesday night around 8:45 right now. We will plan on posting still. Our comms team will be here overnight. They'll be posting updates. So if you have power and you can keep up to date, if you go to our social media pages or our website, which is scgov.net, we'll be posting updates as we have them. Otherwise, we'll be back in the morning with more live updates as we have information and our crews get out at first light to be able to see what the impacts are to our county. Lastly, we know that this is a time of great anxiety. We know that many of you are probably listening, either being evacuated or you're here maybe with your power out. We just want to know we're here for you and we're with you. And we ourselves are residents of this county. And so it's our home as well. So our hearts are in the same place as you. We're going to get through this and we're going to be there for you every step of the way. So thank you very much. Have a safe evening and stay tuned.
She was getting a little emotional there.
Yeah.
That was taken earlier. We do want to remind you that was taken about 15 minutes, after the
about
storm hit.
8:40 this evening. Sambra Tamfumini from the Emergency Management Services kind of laying out what we knew at least at that point. In fact, this Category 3 storm, Milton making at least initial landfall at Siesta Key, one of the most beautiful treasures, and there are so many right here, but we know this is our new reality tonight. As we mentioned a little earlier, if you're just joining us and you want to peek outside, this isn't the time to do it. Let the first responders do it. Clearing will be a priority tomorrow. We were hearing from Jordan's piece earlier, looking about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Hopefully, first responders can get on the road. Remember, we've got to make it safe for them in order to make it safe for you. So don't go out, try to be a hero, move a power line, because assume, as Sandra just said very eloquently, assume any line, it's live. You don't want to touch that, and you may have a lot of flooded roads. And you mentioned that earlier. What did you say about unplugging things and then plugging them back in? She said that too. Reiterate that again.
One
That's
at
a
a
good one.
time. So they're saying anytime you have a power outage, you should go around and unplug everything, your TVs, your toaster, your microwave, your computers. And then once the power is restored, go back and plug things in one at a time. I had never heard that before, but that way they're saying it's just better for your safety and the electricity, just to make sure everything's working. Want to point out, speaking of electricity as well, that crews will be heading out from FPL and other companies to get the power restored as soon as it is safe to do so. So the linemen are all on standby right now. And as soon as it's safe for them to head out in the community and get this power restored, they will be doing that.
Absolutely. Hey, let's take you to Charlotte County. We've got some new video just into the newsroom tonight. What a mess there. You know, what looked to be a parking lot probably earlier today now looks like a makeshift lake. These are flooded cars in a parking lot in Punta Gorda, obviously near the Charlotte Harbor. That area is so devastated just barely 2 years ago from the effects of Ian. Folks still reeling from that. Looks like, again, that water's so high and it probably came up so quickly. The other thing to keep in mind, you know, you may look out your window and say, oh goodness, look at the vehicles flooded. Some of the big concerns, we don't know what all is in that water, right? We want to be safe when we go out, but wait till the water recedes, because the initial instinct would be maybe to run out and say, can I start the vehicle? Can I move it? But we don't know what's in that water, the critters, the debris, whatever may be out there. And again, as we said earlier, we're talking about live electric wires that could have come down. So again, we've got to think, I think, before we act. This is an emotional time, as Sandra said just about 5 minutes ago. We're going to be playing off those emotions, but look at that, bumper high.
So many cars lost in now Hurricane Milton, Hurricane Helene, Debbie, weeks prior. We have had a very active season here on the Sun Coast. And for anyone watching us out of town, we are about an hour south of Tampa. So we refer to this as the Sun Coast community, Manatee, Sarasota, Charlotte counties. And it has been a very devastating past few months when it comes to the weather department. Lots of rain after a drought for so long. No longer a drought. We've received way too much rain, and now we're seeing the flooding and result of this hurricane and the storm surge, which has been a big problem.
Absolutely, and we know it. It's we want the rain, right? It keeps things green, lush, beautiful. That's a blessing. But anything that's too much is not a good thing, and that's certainly what we've experienced this year. So it's not only just the actual storm cells and all the winds, but it's the rain. What happens to that in the creeks and the streams and the riverbeds that are already simply overwhelmed? They're so swollen at this point that it wouldn't take much to break them. And so that is certainly a concern, certainly going to be a concern for a lot of our area water treatment plants. We saw that certainly after Debbie went through the effects of that, and we're going to see that again. So this may be a new norm for us, whatever that norm is. Producers are telling us we've got the Sarasota Emergency Operations Center law enforcement update. We assume this is from a little bit earlier, but let's listen in to give you an idea of exactly what's going on right now.
Good evening. My name is Evan Keats, and I'm the Public Information Officer for the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. As we have consistently messaged, when winds hit 45 miles per hour sustained winds, our sheriff's deputies will no longer respond to any calls for service. We have hit that 45 miles per hour sustained winds. Simply put, it is no longer safe to be on the roads. The Sheriff's Office has called in additional deputies, and we have resources that will deploy when it is safe to do so. If you did not evacuate and you are in those vulnerable areas, levels A, B, and C, you need to shelter in place, and you'll need to ride out this storm. The bridges are shut down to get on the barrier islands. There is currently no power on Siesta Key, and we are aware of power outage throughout the county. We are still awaiting landfall of Milton, and regardless of where it strikes, it will have significant impacts to our community. If you did heed the warnings and left the area, good. If you did not, you will be facing dire circumstances that we cannot help you with until it is safe for us to do so. The Sheriff's Office will continue to monitor this storm from the County Emergency Operations Center, and we'll be reevaluating when it is safe to deploy for rescue operations. Now is the time to be smart, make good decisions, be safe, and be strong. Good luck.
This was a test of making good decisions.
Right.
A lot of people evacuated, did not want to take a chance, and hopefully that paid off for them. Safety, utmost safety is important.
I think the sheriffs and the police departments being very good, very upfront, very transparent with, hey, At this point, we've given you all the tools, the resources, we've given you the information, then you decide at this point, because in fact, they're telling you right there, we may not be able to get out to you tonight. We've got to keep our men and women safe. We need to keep our men and women alive, in fact, so that they can go out tomorrow, assess the damage, and start with the very slow and arduous recovery efforts as well. I think we have some video now. Where are we
Yes,
going to?
I was going to say this is going to be a scene we will be showing you over and over again. This is new video into our newsroom from Fort Myers. So that is south of the Manatee, Sarasota County area, Braden and Sarasota. So Fort Myers, this is a flooded street. Looks like a river or bay, but nope, that is a street where the water just came on in. So they're seeing it south of us. This is a wide range of damage here on the west coast of Florida, seeing all of this damage from Hurricane Milton.
And we know by looking at this summer, at least at this time, whenever that was, they did have power at that point. Whether or not that is currently the case, that could change by the minute as well. Look at the palm trees there. They are really moving. They're almost at a sideways angle, almost completely to the sides. And look at how that water is moving. That is water. We don't know how deep it is, but you don't want to try to run through it or drive through it, because we know from past experiences and the stories that you and I have both covered that it doesn't take a lot of water to cause a real tragedy and to change lives forever.
Just looking at that.
That wind's really whipping up there.
Yeah, and speaking of the wind, that is, again, what Manatee County officials, Sarasota County officials are saying. Part of the reason they cannot go out right now is because it is still not safe outside. There is a severe wind threat, and they are saying if they go out, they could be putting their men and women in danger, and they do not want to do this. So they plan on heading out as early as 6 in the morning, depending on the wind, to assess the damage, everything passable. So hopefully homeowners can get in, take a look at their property, and assess the damage.
up job, obviously, keeping the public informed, and you've got more.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, the governor was reporting there were a few hundred mobile homes destroyed. I'm hearing reports that actually Shadowbrook and Palmetto sustained damage. This is where I-75 and 275
Right.
merge in North Palmetto. But we've got to get that confirmed. But I have some friends telling me that they had significant damage. And you can imagine with those strong winds, it would be hard to hold up.
Absolutely. So, and again, keep in mind those numbers were from the governor at about a 7:30, 7:45 time frame, right? So we know that that was then. Everything has changed since then, right? So those numbers are going to go exponentially higher. Not only there, as far as homes destroyed, homes displaced, homes severely damaged, and that is something that we can only expect that the numbers will grow higher, just like the power outages. And at this hour, what are we? It's about it's almost
Almost midnight.
midnight. Wow. Again, this surges. I think that's what's so unique about this, the banding, where I keep thinking, are we in the clear? It'll quiet down, right? You think the worst is over, then the next cell comes through, the next band, the next wave, if you call it, whatever it is, it keeps you on your toes. That's what it does. So the winds are kicking up here, and I'm hoping that you're in a safe place because the warnings were there, and not only days in advance, but weeks. The governor saying when I met him at Bradenton Beach right after Helene saying, they're already looking ahead to the next projection, which was Milton. And we saw how quickly that formed and changed.
All right. And our producers are giving us a heads up that we are actually going to hear from Captain Kurtz. A picture. Oh, my bad. All right, let's take a look at this.
Wow.
This is a picture coming into our newsroom. This is from Siesta Key from Captain Kurtz. And thank you for sending that in to us. And that just shows you all the standing water. I heard Captain and thought immediately it'd be a boat picture. Well, it kind of looks like you're out on the water there, but you're not.
You're going to need a boat to get to
yeah.
that place, or a canoe. And that's obviously what we do not want you to do that. But this obviously looked like it was probably part of a parking lot, part of the roadway around there that at least now has been completely submerged. We know at this point, at this hour, Siesta Key, the direct aim of this horrible Hurricane Milton, that we now have known and learned so much about over the last several hours and several days. So the damage, that's just one snapshot. I mean, that's just a point and a moment in time. Those stories, those heartbreaking stories. In fact, we will only hear more of those as the hours and days progress. This is going to be a slow and arduous cleanup effort, but the governor promising, he said, know that I want you to listen to the warnings to go away from your homes, but he said, I'll do everything in my power to get you back into their homes. Wow, this is another good shot right here. What are we looking? Is this also Siesta Key?
Siesta Key. Yes. Another picture
another
from Captain Kurtz.
Wow.
And wow, you can see the lights still on there, but the water just really taking over the building there. This is going to be a similar site, I fear, from Siesta Key, taking majority of the impact from that storm, with it making landfall there, being so close to the water. The damage is significant.
Wow. And at this hour, again, we just heard another whip up of the wind out there. And we know that that's what we call adding insult to injury. I love the mix of architecture along the Sun Coast, especially Siesta Key. I was talking to a developer the other day who's building a fantastic home on Bradenton Beach for a client that lived in Ohio. And I said, how do you get ready for a storm when you're building a new multi-million-dollar build right here? And he said, well, it's showing that the new codes are working. And, this may change some of how we build here, how we think here, how we develop here. We are learning from each storm cell, and hopefully those golden treasures last at some of the older homes and businesses. But time will tell. We won't know until tomorrow morning. But it could very well change the way we look at the landscape, the way we build, the way we do developments. I think we certainly learned that even after the wake of Hurricane Debbie.
Unfortunately, homes and businesses along the coast on our barrier islands not faring so well this season. It's just been a horrible past few weeks going through Hurricane Helene, receiving the significant damage that they did, the loss, the destruction, only to have it return once again 2 weeks later with now Milton.
My heart breaks for them. So many folks doing what they can, making those dreaded calls to the insurance company. First of all, hoping that you actually get somebody reel on the phone, right? To talk about what you need to make your life normal again, whatever normal is at this point, right? So a lot of those folks, that made that call 2 weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago during Debbie, they're having to do it again. And it gets to that point where you think, how much more? How much more can we take? And what do we need to do to move on?
All right, we have something else into our newsroom. Take a look at this image here. It's showing sparks or video sparks flying in Tampa, again showing that dangerous mix of water and electricity. That is why
Yeah.
we are told to not go outside after a storm like this, and dangerous situation caught on video there outside of a building. Can't tell if that's actually a light or traffic light, but it definitely was a scary moment.
Yeah, and we don't even see a really heavy amount of rain in this. We don't know if this was caught at maybe perhaps a surveillance camera, maybe somebody shooting from the window of a condo or an apartment. We don't know, but you see the effects. You wouldn't want to be out there no matter what that is, even when it seems like the coast is clear and it doesn't look like it's raining really heavy, at least at that point where this particular image was captured. But we know for a fact that the debris, Bob talking about the nails in the roadway, the power lines being down, assuming that every power line is live. You don't want to drive over it. You don't want to walk through it. And then this is a great example of that right there. We don't know what's in those sparks. We don't know what's in the water below, but the power of what electricity can do along with the water, it is a lethal combination. We've seen that from stories in the past.
All right, like you were saying, the landscape of this area has changed. It's not going to look the same after these two storms.
No, absolutely not. And that's just a small sampling, folks. Whatever changes your life, the trajectory, know that you're not alone. At this point, we talked earlier, Steph and I had this conversation, and it's a good one. How do you talk to your kids about these events? What if you've lived here and you've lived here a long time, and you try to say, hey, we will survive this storm, but we know that this is not any ordinary storm, not any storm season that's been normal by any standard. So it's okay to reach out. After this, it's a lot, right? It's a lot to digest, it's a lot to process, and a lot to think about as we move forward and make this community strong once again. And we certainly will do that one by one, and with the generous philanthropic sentiments that are here. And there's a lot of good, but we do have to keep the conversations opening. And if you have concerns, talk to somebody. Don't hold it in. That goes for kids. That goes for adults.
Yeah, this is just really overwhelming. Sad to see. Happy that this was not a Category 5 storm. Unfortunately, it still was very powerful, though, making land as a Category 3 storm around 8:30 this evening, touching, if you're just tuning in, this storm touched down on Siesta Key, 8:30 tonight, as a Category 3, 120-mile-per-hour winds. We are just now getting a lot of video and images into our newsroom, learning about the damage and devastation left behind because of this storm.
I can't believe that we're saying it was just a Category 3, right? Just 120 miles. It's all horrible. It's all a nightmare. We don't want to believe that this is really happening in the place that we call home and that we love so much. But in fact, that is what we know that we are dealing with tonight. So this is the fact. This is time that we do band together. It's a reality. It's how we move forward. It's how we grow from it from here, right? So, and how we make things somewhat normal again. And again, at this hour, like I said, it's so deceptive. We think it's done. We're in a place that is strong as a bunker. I mean, this is a fabulous new facility that we've been allowed to set up shop in. If you're just joining us, things look different and feel different. They are. We got out of 10th Street in downtown Sarasota in an abundance of caution, which was a smart move, right? And it was a monumental event that took the power of dozens of folks to get things here and to bring this broadcast to you, because the commitment has been and will remain to you and to safety and to keeping you and your family alive in this situation. But at this hour, what are we? Right around midnight now. We're still here in wind gusts, and we're in Lakewood Ranch, and it is strong out there. We are not done yet.
All right, and we will be touching base, checking in on a lot of the areas we have been reporting on tonight.
Yeah.
Longboat Key, the Barrier Islands, Anna Marie Island, to see how residents fared there. And Rob, we cannot stress the importance of our viewers sharing video and pictures of what they're seeing with us moving forward. Of course, we do not want anyone going out tonight. We do not want you putting yourself in danger, but it allows us the ability to expand and share all the way from Northport to Palmetto, share Ellington Parish, Siesta Key, Longboat Key. So please reach out to ABC7, go to our website, mysuncoast.com, and click on the Share It tab so you can share your videos and pictures as you see them. There you go. And we want you to share it on our Share It tab, and we will be showing our viewers all of these pictures and videos as they come into our newsroom.
Right. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a different experience with these storms. As each storm passes through, we know that the effects are different on every person, on every business, on every home, on every family. We want you to share that with us because that's important. You help us tell the story in a way that nobody else can. And that's important. And it's unique, it's yours, and it's your journey along with us. But it's imperative that you do it when it's safe, not right now. Just hold down, stay tight, stay with your family, your friends, whatever that is. Make sure everybody's taken care of because that is of paramount importance in no matter what storm. And think about it, we still have pretty much till the end of November. This is just a season like we've not seen, right? I kept thinking, I thought we were lucky in June, in July, that maybe we would literally dodge the bullet because it seemed like everything was normal. But we have seen, and as Mother Nature has shown us, it is anything but that this year.
Yeah, it's been a very busy hurricane season, that's for sure. All right, and we want to show you some new images into our newsroom of major flooding in Sarasota.
Wow.
Check this out. Again, looks like they are out on the boat, but they are not. This is in Sarasota. All the heavy water going into the road there, and
Guys, do we know what street this is or where? It looks like almost at 5 Points. Is that 5 Points? We don't know. But nonetheless, look at whatever that is floating through that water. That is why.
that's a car.
And somebody's going right on through it thinking.
Which you're not supposed to do.
Not supposed to. I would not recommend that, right? I mean, it's compelling video. It's gripping. You want to look, but we don't want you to become a statistic in this storm. That is not what we want to see. But obviously, I don't know if this is a parking deck or it looks like there's lights in the background. Way back there in the foreground, it looks like I see headlights. I saw a sign there. Was that Main Street downtown, maybe? One Sarasota. There it is, right there.
Yeah, by the
Thank you guys
downtown
for
area.
showing that. Look at.
So that water is not supposed to be there.
That is
and
no.
yeah, and we obviously
goodness.
mentioned that you shouldn't drive through it. Not only is it not good for your car, but if it's too high, you could get swept away, putting yourself in danger. So again, until law enforcement opens the streets up, gives you the go-ahead, it is not advised to head out there and try to drive around in this standing water that is now left behind from Hurricane Milton.
Look at that. And that is just a sample. That is just a test of what we're going to see. Those stories, those pictures, those images, they will be everywhere for the next several days. But this is just something that who could have imagined, right? Who could have thought? But this is the reality of what we're dealing with. We're showing these now to kind of let you know why we're not out of the woods yet. Stay put, stay safe.
And something else, Rob, we want to bring up again is we are seeing widespread power outages around the Suncoast. We got an update from Manatee County, more than 80,000, and there are thousands of people without electricity tonight in Sarasota County and Charlotte counties as well. And we are told FPL crews and other businesses are standing by, trying to get out there and make repairs and get the electricity back on it, but they can't do this until the conditions are safer.
Got to get the water down, got to get it to a safe level. Those crews need to do their jobs. But as the governor was saying at about a 7:30, 7:45 earlier this evening, FPNL, what he called a well-oiled machine, right? They have a massive job. He said it would pale in comparison the other day to what we saw during the surge of Helene. And we know that that will be an arduous, long task, but you got to get the streets cleared out, So calling and making the complaints or saying my lights are out, they probably know that and they understand that. But that's something that they will be dealing with soon.
All right, we have some new information coming in right now. And this is the new Tropicana video. And as you may have heard by now, the roof of the Tropicana field, that is the baseball stadium, or not stadium, the complex there in St. Petersburg, has been ripped off, home of the Tampa Bay Rays. Yes, and That is significant damage. That
And,
was pretty strong.
We learned that some workers were staying there. They were using that as a makeshift temporary shelter. And look what they're dealing with tonight. Literally just peeled back like skin right off of the roof of this place. Don't know how old the structure itself, but I'm sure it was. I mean, look at that right there. And you were seeing flashes there, much like we saw in some of those images earlier. So that looked like there was some sort of a flash. We don't know if it's a transformer, if it's lines going down. But think about it. Those people that were there, we have so many folks, perhaps thousands that were staying there, who make that place run and such a beautiful place to visit on any other day for game night, for special events. And look at it now. The trajectory of that changed forever. Again, it's the building. We'll fix that. It's those folks who stay inside. And it looked like there was some sort of a flash inside that dome at that point of impact. So I don't know what we're dealing with. We have not gotten any word on the condition of the folks that were staying there.
Okay. And it has been a long evening, Rob. We are coming up on midnight. The worst part of these storms, obviously, the aftermath, that waiting for them to hit is difficult too. So I know so many people in the community so tired. We're tired. Law enforcement is tired. But it is our job and our duty to report information as it comes in to our newsroom, to our community, so you are informed and we can keep everyone safe. And you know what to expect as you venture out tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think it will be such a telling story tomorrow, right? It's not what is going on now, but it's the days and the weeks after the recoveries, the discoveries that first responders make, that neighbors make, that people make. And I only pray to God that all those people were in safe places and heeded the warnings of this, because this is something that we won't soon forget.
No, it's a good reminder to definitely take these hurricanes seriously, evacuate when told. We had multiple zones told to evacuate, A, B, and C, for all three counties,
Right.
Manatee, Sarasota, and Charlotte counties. And as we predicted, we saw a lot of storm surge. The wind damage was significant. And we just don't know the extent of the damage until the sun rises again. So we will be getting out there and checking out the Suncoast area. We are hearing a number of mobile homes were damaged, and unfortunate. We're just so sorry for all the families that have lost their homes.
Bob mentioning earlier, and you reiterated that we do have these pop-up fires. You know, what are they caused by? We don't know. We can't predict that, but we know at least a couple of fires in the area, probably a lot more than what we even want to imagine at this point. And folks trying to do what they can. We're getting some new information. This is just something about a collapse of a shelter in Bradenton. What kind of shelter are we talking about, guys? Does anybody, what is this? It's a shed. So this is a shed. Okay. We're going to see a lot of that. That's to be expected. As long as that shed was empty, the lawnmower, we can replace that. No big deal. But we're going to see a lot of that. Bob was talking about he cleared out his shed. Probably a good idea, because he already said, hey, that shed, that, you know, it was good for its time, but that shed's probably not there anymore. And we're going to find a lot of that. Your stuff may be down the street, stuff that you may have had out from Helene that you were trying to get rid of for the last 2 weeks. In fact, may have found yet another home. I don't know. I don't know where you begin with this, right? It's like, how much do you take and where do you start with this? Because I think what we saw 2 weeks ago, in fact, Summer, it's going to pale in comparison to what we see tomorrow once daylight hits.
Absolutely. And you're always told, get your documents together, your passports,
Yep.
your marriage licenses, your insurance information, valuables, jewelry, and pictures. A lot of people say they grab family pictures because you can't take everything with you. So we're seeing just from Helene the significance of grabbing those valuables, because the storm surge, it just destroyed everything. So many people lost so many of their items, and unfortunately now this story is on repeat with Hurricane Milton.
Absolutely. I think we'll see a lot more. What was it? Tampa General a couple weeks ago during Helene, they used the tarps, the damp tarps, or the surge
Tiger
tarps.
dams, I've
Tiger
referred to them
dams,
as
yeah.
well,
And
right.
are those things, they're filled with sand, right? Aren't they filled with something? But
Yes,
whatever it
it's
is,
a protective barrier, and actually Manatee Memorial Hospital in Bradenton. Now the governor was talking about them before, but the Manatee Memorial used them for this storm. Used them last time too, and they're really protective. So we obviously need our hospitals to be able to continue to stay up and running. They have generators to keep going if they lose power.
Right.
But protect our hospital, well, because Manatee Memorial also in Bradenton, if you're not familiar, sits on the Manatee River.
Right there.
Yeah, and with the water rising, they just can't take any chances. So
I have to believe, I do believe we're going to have to, those companies that sell those items, that rent them, whatever, that's going to be maybe a new thing moving forward for homes, businesses that, hey, the information is there. Our weather team's been talking about it not only for days, but weeks, that here comes another storm. And so we know what's coming, and maybe some of the man-made barriers, in fact, summer, maybe some of the things to help us kind of offset some of the damage that Mother Nature may in fact leave behind, because we know that this is not going to just go away on its own. This is what we're going to be dealing with.
all right, and going back to the power outages,
Mhm.
FPL telling us when we spoke to them earlier and other power companies that they are aware of a majority of the power outages, but you are able to report them as well. And then when you get power, or if you know someone where you can get some cell service and log on to their website, you're able to see a wait time. And, if they're in your neighborhood repairing the lines. So that is something that they'll be working on. A lot of people sleeping without AC this evening. However, if they have a roof over their head, very thankful. This storm caused a lot of damage, could have been worse, but still pretty significant.
It is step by step, moment by moment. Know that also, a lot of the crews in other states that we've helped before know that they're here now. Ohio Task Force 1 from my good old home state of Ohio as well. They're here. The forces are here on the ground and ready to come in to help us out. We know from the fact that the National Guard, that the American Red Cross, all those wonderful services that we depend on, they're going to be here for us. They've been ready for this. In the wake of what's going on, not only here in the state of Florida, but the devastation in the Carolinas, where so many people are still hurting tonight. We cannot let that go without mention as well. So this is a difficult time for so many people. We are Suncoast strong. We will rebuild. Things will be better than ever. And we will learn from this. We will grow. But know that there will be help here, and a lot of help from other states that will help us to get things back to normal. And we hope that happens sooner than later.
And in these situations, you see a lot of good in the bad with volunteers and people stepping up to help rebuild their lives, people, helping clear the debris, helping gut your home so you can start moving forward and rebuilding. So that's always the good and the bad.
Know that you're not alone. Also, this is, we talked about it earlier, Stephanie or I mentioned this, that going to a shelter, one of the folks that we had in one of our pieces today from Sarasota said, this is the first time I've ever had to use a public shelter. This is something I don't know even what to bring. That's okay. It's a new unknown for many people, and you're not alone. But know that this will only make you stronger. Hopefully you don't have to do it again next week, next month, next year. We hope that time never comes. But if in fact it does, know that you are prepared, you're empowered, because knowledge is power. And from these storms, we can only learn and grow from them, not only individually, not only as families, but as an entire community, really, from this. So do not be afraid to ask for help, to reach out. And if we have to use shelters again, we'll just do just that. It's your life is, we can't put a price on that.
All right. And it looks like Manatee County and Sarasota County EOCs will not be giving any more updates this evening. They said they are wrapping things up. They're getting their rest, because they do plan on heading out first thing in the morning, as early as 6 in the morning, so they can assess the damage, get the roads cleared, and start the process of cleaning up. They say they do have search and rescue teams they will be sending out as soon as possible, though they need to see if anyone is in need of assistance. They can get them to local hospitals and the care that they need. Again, they're looking at power outages and the damage that Hurricane Milton caused. And they're saying they do want people to remain indoors. I know it's been a more than a few hours, several hours, waiting for this storm, now dealing with it hitting tonight. But they say it's just so important to let crews get out there, get the process of cleaning up and assessing done, so they can make the community safer, so people can get out once again and check out the damage of their homes.
Great advice. And again, as we said, we want you to share information with us, but only when that's safe. That's why, to the best of our knowledge, using our technology, we're showing you some of the sites that we're seeing right now. We're going to take you out to a traffic cam to give you a live view right now of Siesta Key at Midnight Pass and Siesta and Stickney Point Road. So there now at this point, I think when you and I looked at that other shot, we see some flashing of something, but the regular street lights, the lamps look like, I mean, look at that. That's completely dark out there again. And the bands of the rain, I want you to look at the angle of the rain. It's almost got that sideways motion to it, that kind of ominous feel to it, that look. Certainly not something you want to be out in. No traffic, and as it should be, and hopefully it'll stay that way for the next day or so. Looks like we do have some water banding across the
Yeah,
roadway,
you can
but
see the rain falling there.
look at that sideway band. So we are not out of the woods with this yet, but a very dark street there.
And something interesting, Bob Harrigan told us that this storm continues. It's moving east, towards Orlando,
Right.
a lot of places where people evacuated,
Mhm.
up towards Jacksonville. So this storm is not over. And a lot of the folks who evacuated to these locations will see the weather conditions where they are now as they try to come home and return to the Suncoast area.
Absolutely. It'll take some time, and this is one of the storms where the bandwidth, the magnitude of it, the eye, everything was so large and so massive that we know that this is a storm that in one way or another affected almost every part of our state that we call home. So that is something to keep in mind. If it wasn't the eye of the storm here, some folks to our south were dealing with the tornado watches, the tornado warnings, the heavy bands of rain, the high winds, the gusts. And so just know that you're not alone. We all experience something different. We all take away something different from all these storm cells. And as each storm is different, so are the memories that we will take away from each of these. We will learn, we will grow. That's all we can do. But again, this is a scenario you don't even want to peek out right now. It's just that volatile still at this hour. And it's going to be like that pretty much, I think, summer throughout the evening.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier, but we had thousands of residents go to local shelters. They needed to evacuate from their homes, so they went to the shelters. Several schools in both, all three counties, Manatee, Sarasota, and Charlotte counties being used as shelters. Obviously, these schools will not be open for the rest of the week, and it is unknown right now how long these shelters will be open to families in need.
They're going to be there and help folks out through the toughest of times, right? Because folks don't know what they're going to go back to. So your kid may go to that certain school, but you know what? Tonight, that may be your temporary home away from home, and that is okay. And know that you're not alone, and it's just better to be there, better to be safe, to have resources around you, and be in one locale that you may call home for the next couple of days. It's not ideal, but it's better than being out in the elements or being in a home or a place that is in fact not livable at this point. And you won't know that until, again, authorities get out there, clear the roads, clear the streets, and say, hey, it's okay to go back to your neighborhood, to go back to the cul-de-sac, to go back to the place where you call home and check out, in fact, whatever it needs to be done to make that home normal again. So just stay strong, stay resilient, and that's all we can do at this point.
I really want to applaud our local emergency operations centers, Manatee, Sarasota, and Charlotte, our local law enforcement agencies. The communication was just amazing for this storm and Helene, just allowing letting the community know everything that was happening, resources available. Social media gets a lot of negativity, but let me tell you, it was used in a positive way with this storm. They were able to just get that information out. And then as a result, they share it with us too. And we share that information on our website. That is mysuncoast.com. But with a storm like this, so much information comes. So they're able to just upload it just consistently. And it's the best I've ever seen. So we have a wonderful group working at our local law enforcement agencies and local governments and school districts too, getting that information out to the community. And they say they will continue to share this information. So if you have a child at one of the schools in Manatee or Sarasota counties, or you live in Manatee, Sarasota, or Charlotte counties, I advise you to check out their social media and websites consistently so you stay informed. And of course, you can also stay informed by visiting our website and visiting our social media sites as well. That is ABC7, My Suncoast, and our website, of course, mysuncoast.com. Right.
Absolutely. This is a fluid situation. We're getting a couple updates for you, but just some news and tidbits we want you to just kind of take note of as we learn them. we're passing them along to you. We're told if you need emergency services, you're going to have to wait. All three counties, Manatee, Sarasota, and Charlotte, have suspended emergency services. Obviously, we knew this was coming, right? It wasn't hours before, but it was days before because we knew we were facing this due to the Hurricane Milton moving through. First responders unable to be on the roadways, as it would seem to be obvious because of high winds. If you need help, you can still call 911, but emergency services may not get to you until it's safe to actually do so as well.
All right, and we have meteorologist Leslie Lacey standing by. She's
Hi.
going to give us an update on the latest forecast. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, I'm going to talk about the power outages. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put these out for you. So overall, we've got over 2 million people in the state of Florida without power. Okay, 75% of people in Sarasota are without power right now. 77 in Manatee County. 96% of the people who live in Hardy County are without power. So here are the numbers. We've got Sarasota County, over 226. That's just the ones that have been reported at this time. Okay, Manatee County, over 200,000 there. DeSoto County, 1305. Pinellas County, 404. Over 400,000 people without power in Pinellas County, okay? And then Charlotte County, 139,283. So some things to remember. You know, you have to be careful when the power comes back on, especially if you've got any water, standing water around. It's always a good idea if your power is off sometimes to just shut off your breakers with everything that's going on. Many of these places, you're probably going to be without power for days. I don't know how long it'll take. Sometimes these things takes weeks because this is widespread. And boy, this storm, it came in and it was pretty intense, but then it didn't seem like too much, and then the back end of that wall came, and that is what is providing the really powerful punch, not the front end of the wall, but those back end winds. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Where are we now? So we've got what's left of the eye moving up, and it's heading towards the Orlando area, but these bands that we still have coming in, and this back area, these back winds that are pushing in, as you can see in the Venice area, still getting hit. And where we are, around I-75 and State Road 70, we're in a Cat 5 building. It's made to withstand a Cat 5 hurricane, but we can still hear what sounds like thunder, but it's not thunder, it's a wind. So we're still getting hurricane force winds, especially down here in the Venice area, even in Sarasota as well. And as you can see, Tampa has just been hammered with them. I'm going to go ahead and move in a little bit closer here to Venice, just so you can see all the way down into Rotunda and Inglewood. They're getting bands and some pretty intense wind in that area. You look at this hurricane and it doesn't look like a typical hurricane. It's usually, somewhat of a large comma circle, but you've got this big area here that was empty. So it almost looks like you're missing part of your graphic, for us meteorologists, but that's not it. It was because that dry air came in. And but the thing is, with the dry air, you've still got plenty of winds. You don't have to have rain to have these powerful winds. If anything, rain can slow down wind a little bit. This is the friction. There's nothing to stop it. So this area that's been coming in is just really hammering. Also, as I move up here, I just want to take a look at some of the rain totals here. Got an over 10 inches of rain in the Tampa area. We've had, 8, 9 inches reported in the Suncoast area, around Bradenton, Manatee County, upwards of 8 inches. When we look at the estimated amounts, it could be even more than that. And finally, the wind is decreasing a little bit around Anna Maria Island as this system continues. What's left of it continues to move on still as a hurricane towards the Orlando area, Central Florida. So as we look at the velocity here, I just kind of wanted to query some areas, just kind of explain the color chart here. Where you see these lighter areas, this is more intense wind, okay? South of the red. When you go north of the red, where the green is, the blue and the white are the most intense winds. So this is the area, and it still stretches down to Venice. When I was querying it, 75, 85, 96 mile an hour winds. And I just want to kind of go ahead and zoom into the areas here. And this is when I queried Lakewood Ranch area right through here, 84 miles per hour, okay? That's Hurricane Gus, 84 miles per hour in Sarasota. We're still getting that, all right? Uh, especially in this light area, 89, almost 90 miles per hour here. And this is in the Northport area. Venice was the same. That's the fluctuation. We're still getting those intense hurricane strength gusts coming through the area. Kind of went to up here to Mayaca City, the Hidden River area. Still hurricane strength, okay? So now's not the time to go out, check out what's going on. We're not done with this yet. We're not finished with it. Okay, so watches and warnings. Obviously, we are still under a hurricane warning in the area. Okay, so we also have flood warnings. Got a lot of flooding here going on in the Bradenton area parish, all the way to the north. Extensive flooding for our friends in Pinellas County as well. Upwards of 16 inches record flooding over in the St. Petersburg area. And as I move a little bit to the north here, you can see the stretches up to our friends up north as well. So taking another look here at the Titan radar, just showing you where a lot of the intensity is. And when I had that velocity map up, I actually queried this area. This is where you see the red, 116 mile an hour, 120 mile an hour in this area, Pasco County, Dade City area, Hernando, Zephyr Hills, just all around there, intense gusts coming in, you know, a strong category 2 gusts coming in that area. Tampa in the downtown area was querying 80, 90. Okay, so we're not out of this. It certainly turned up the volume. You know, I call this, it's kind of a tease, wasn't it? It came in, it was intense, and it was leaving, but that back end, you didn't expect this to happen, did you? Well, that's what can happen when that back wall starts to make its way through. So still happening out here, but remember, you know, be careful out there if you've got standing water. You know, don't put your feet in it, especially if you're turning back on your electricity. You have to be very careful about that as well, okay? Again, I'm just going to mention that 76% of the people in Sarasota are without power. It's about 75, 76, 77 are without power in Manatee County. So, you know, we'll stay on Facebook page with you. If you've got your phone, you know, we're doing Facebook updates as well. And 97% of the people who live in, we're getting some big gusts here, we're hearing them again, in Hardy County, 97% without power. So there's a lot of work to be done when we get into tomorrow. But tomorrow isn't the day that you want to go out and explore. It's going to be quite treacherous out there. There was a lot of debris, not just in our area for what happened with Helene when we went through Anna Maria Island, the Siesta Key areas, but Pinellas County as well, all the flooding up in Pinellas County, and also in Tampa and Hillsborough County. Lots of debris on the side of the road that just didn't get picked up, or there's debris areas where the cities just put everything all in one place, you know, that's like 20 foot high, because this was so soon after Helene. So what's going to happen is I think that we're going to see something that looks like a bit of a war town when we wake up with trash and debris everywhere with these kind of winds and just what we had out there. Hopefully you put as many objects as you could that might have been around your yard, you know, into your pool or into a shed or into your house and got them out of the way, because they can be used as missiles. And I certainly feel for everybody out there. As you know, we mentioned Tropicana Field, you know, where the Rays play, the roof was taken off of Tropicana Field. So we're going to see a lot of devastation, lots of things to get through. But important thing is stay home tomorrow. Don't go out on the roads. It's going to be a bit treacherous out there, and it can be very, very dangerous. Also, electrical wires. There's going to be many down. They're going to be trying to get our power back up. So you have to be very, very careful. All right, I'm going to send it back to our anchors now. Guys, take it away here. It's the long run, isn't it?
Yes, yes, very long night. Thank you,
Yes.
Leslie. And Rick Adams now joining me. Rob Wells needed a break. Good to see you, Rick.
I have a little bit of energy. I know you guys have been going strong all night long, and this storm just continues to be so relentless.
Yeah, and it is our obligation to report the information to our community, keep you updated on everything going on. So that is what we are doing tonight. And as we continue our storm coverage, again, Hurricane Milton making landfall, Siesta Key, about 8:30 tonight. As a category 3, 120 mile per hour winds. We were bracing for a Category 5. It ended up being 3, but still nonetheless causing significant damage. All right, we want to go to this video sent into our newsroom. This is Arlington Park in Sarasota, and Rick, a transformer exploding into the trees. It's kind of hard to see there.
Yeah, you could
we have a
kinda
smaller screen. But
you kind of see it in the distance there, and that's a scary scene. And we're talking about the down power lines. That's another horrible issue, a dangerous issue out there.
all right, and we've been given some new information to report to our community, so we want to let you know now. Once the storm has passed, the Charlotte County Emergency Management Center will put information hubs, which are metal containers that look like white newspaper stands. They're going to be placing them at some county libraries and recreation centers. Good idea to get the information out to the community. So these hubs will provide information about recovery efforts, relief programs, and available resources to community members. This information will be on printed flyers and once again placed in these info hubs. They are metal containers that look like white newspaper stands. They're going to be at libraries and recreation centers, and you can find the locations of these information hubs by visiting the Charlotte County website. So they're posting that information.
Yeah, we are getting a lot of information. The storm is still going on. That roar is just so frightening. It's like a train, roaring down the railroad tracks.
Yes. And I know you have some new information.
I do. We have a few things to tell you about. If you do need emergency services, you will have to wait. All 3 counties, Manatee, Sarasota, and Charlotte counties, have suspended emergency services. That's because of Hurricane Milton, of course. First responders are unable to be on the roadways because of the high winds. They have to wait until those winds die down. If you do need help, you should still call 911. Emergency services will get to you as soon as it is safe to do that. And there's still a lot of flooding out there, a lot of other issues. So hopefully emergency services can be back up and running very soon.
They're just going to be so busy, that's for sure. All right. And we are being told that all counties hope to get out in the morning as early as 6 to start assessing the damage, clearing the roads of debris, fixing the power or the traffic lights, and finding out where downed power lines are to make sure that everyone is safe. All right, well, we have a lot of information on our website. That is mysuncoast.com. And we ask that you reach out to us on Facebook and X with any questions. And you can find us on Facebook under ABC7 Sarasota, WWSB. There's the information there on your screen. And on X at My Suncoast. And you can scan your phone there, the QR code, and it will take you right to these locations.
And I know a lot of folks have been sharing these photos, giving us a true taste of what things are like out there. We do appreciate that, and keep that coming. It's under our Share It tab on our website at mysuncoast.com. And of course, make sure you are safe out there. And I think conditions are still quite dangerous.
Yeah, you are being advised to still remain at home now that the storm is going through. We hope that we have seen the worst of it. However, we're still getting a lot of strong wind gusts, and that's what makes it dangerous to go out. And we don't know where the down power lines are located, and that standing water, which is not safe to walk through or drive through. The county is asking, all the counties and emergency officials are asking that everyone stay indoors until tomorrow when they can assess the damage, and they will then release information once it is safe to hit the roads and go to different locations once again.
And when you think of a landfall, 120 miles per hour, it just kind of blows your mind, And speaking of which, I did speak to somebody who had owned businesses on Siesta Key. He had evacuated. He's very concerned that what he's going to come back to is just going to be a frightening scene.
It was already so damaged from
Yep.
Helene. It's a lot to take. These businesses, all after Helene said they plan to rebuild. I know we spoke to one business. I think it was the Broken Egg Cafe at Siesta Key Village. They were just reopening when they had to close down again because of Hurricane Milton. So They will be assessing the damage. I know these businesses will rebuild, but it's going to be tough.
And we are all feeling it because this is our community. And when you have something like this, it's just horrendous. It's heartbreaking. And he also went on to mention a big part of the problem is the debris from Helene. There's a lot of concern with that.
Another issue we were hearing is these businesses that want to move forward, they obviously rely on people coming to the restaurants and stores to make a living. And we have snowbird season coming, our busy tourism season. And these are hot destinations, the Barrier Islands, Longboat Key, Siesta Key, and Maria Island. So this is a devastating blow to our community.
And just the other day, my wife and myself were going to go to Siesta to support the local businesses. And unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to get out there. But now, who knows what that scene is going to be like. And it's not going to be a good scene.
Well, maybe there's a positive spin. Maybe folks will still come and visit and volunteer their time to help
Yes.
these businesses move forward. There's an idea. But in more seriousness, we are continuing our coverage tonight of Hurricane Milton. We are still gathering information into our newsroom. We do not know yet the overall devastation that our community suffered as a result of this storm. What we do know is that this hurricane was a Category 3 when it made landfall at Siesta Key. Made landfall about 8:30. You know, Rick, we were reporting earlier, it wasn't supposed to make landfall till Thursday morning.
Right.
It was supposed to be a Category